Aldi has upped the ante in the battle of the supermarkets, promising shoppers more discounts than ever before. Experts say whether you shop there or not, all consumers will benefit. Here's Casey Trelaw.
Aldi employees know things about that store that the average shopper will never discover on their own. Not secrets in some conspiracy sense, just operational realities that nobody bothers to explain at the register because nobody asks. Timing windows, pricing mechanisms, product categories. Most people walk straight past without a second glance, and a handful of questions that sound almost too simple to ask, but that produce real, measurable savings every single time someone actually bothers to ask them. 11 hidden deals straight from the people who stock the shelves, run the registers, and watch the prices change in real time. 11. The Wednesday morning restock window. Before markdown tags go up, most shoppers know Wednesday is Aldi's weekly reset day. What most shoppers do not know is that there is a specific window in the early morning hours, often before the store has even opened to full traffic, when overnight staff are still actively applying new markdown tags to clearance and overstock items. And the transitional pricing that exists during that window produces opportunities that disappear entirely once the morning rush has come and gone. Former employees describe this window as the single best opportunity to catch items that have not yet been fully marked down. These are products sitting at an in-between price that is lower than the previous week's tag, but has not yet hit its final clearance reduction. Arriving right at opening, rather than mid-morning once the bulk of restocking has finished, means catching inventory in this transitional pricing state before the deepest discounts get applied and the most popular items disappear entirely off the shelf. The specific products affected vary week to week depending on what is being phased out of the current rotation, but former employees consistently point to this early window as producing genuine savings that vanish by midday once word spreads and the shelf gets picked through by the rest of the morning crowd. By the time the average Wednesday shopper arrives in the afternoon, the transition has already completed, the best inventory is already gone, and all that remains is whatever nobody else wanted. Set an alarm. Arrive at opening. The deepest version of any given week's deals exists for a narrower window than most people realize, and the shoppers taking full advantage of Wednesday restock are the ones who treat that opening hour as a hard appointment rather than a loose intention. That early morning window is the foundation every weekly Aldi strategy should be built around. What is coming at number 10 involves something employees say almost nobody asks about, despite it being one of the most consistently profitable questions a shopper can pose directly at the register. 10. Asking about damaged box discounts on sealed products. Boxes get crushed in transit, corners get dented, outer packaging gets scuffed during the unloading and restocking process that moves thousands of items through a single store every single week. None of this affects the product sealed safely inside, but it does affect whether that item ends up sold at a discount or simply put back on the shelf at full price because nobody stopped to notice the cosmetic damage and ask a simple question. Former employees describe a specific practice that most customers never think to take advantage of. When a box shows visible damage but the product inside remains sealed and completely unaffected, staff are often authorized to apply an immediate discount right at the register if a customer simply asks. This is not formally advertised anywhere in the store. There is no sign pointing customers toward damaged inventory or explaining that a discount is available. It depends entirely on a shopper noticing a dented corner or a torn outer wrapper and being willing to say something about it before placing the item on the belt. The discount amount varies by location and by the discretion of whoever is working the register at that particular moment, but former employees describe percentages ranging from modest to genuinely significant, depending on the severity of the cosmetic damage and the specific item involved. A slightly crushed cereal box might yield a smaller reduction. A badly dented appliance box or a heavily torn outer package on a non-food item tends to produce a more substantial result. If you spot a box with a crushed corner or a torn outer wrapper on something you were already planning to buy, ask. The worst possible outcome is being told no, which costs nothing, and the best outcome is walking out having paid noticeably less for something with zero functional difference from the pristine version sitting right next to it on the same shelf. Before we continue, if these hidden mechanics are already changing how you think about your next Aldi run, hit that like button right now. Every item left on this list represents real money that most shoppers leave on the table simply because nobody told them to ask. One tap, do it now. Because what is coming at number 9 involves a section of the store that exists in nearly every location, and that the majority of regular shoppers have genuinely never noticed or consistently checked. 9. The rear corner clearance shelf that has no consistent location. Every Aldi store maintains some version of a clearance area, but unlike a dedicated clearance aisle with permanent signage, the exact location of this overflow clearance shelf shifts depending on where shelf space happens to be available during that particular week. Sometimes it sits near the registers. Sometimes it occupies an end cap near the back wall. Sometimes it gets tucked into whatever open shelving exists adjacent to the seasonal aisle or near the freezer section at the rear of the store. Former employees describe this inconsistency as the exact reason most regular shoppers never develop a reliable habit of checking it. With no fixed spot to build a routine around the way there is with the markdown rack in the meat or produce section, most customers simply do not develop the scanning behavior that would put this section in their path on a consistent basis. The items that land here tend to be a genuine and unpredictable mix. Discontinued products no longer being ordered, overstock from a previous seasonal rotation, and occasionally, Aldi finds items that did not sell through during their original limited window and got relocated rather than returned to the supplier. The practical solution former employees consistently suggest is straightforward. On every visit, take 30 seconds during your regular path through the store to glance toward whatever end caps and open shelving exist near the front and back walls, rather than assuming clearance only happens in the one specific spot you remember from a previous trip. The location moves week to week. The deals do not stop existing simply because the spot changed. Shoppers who build this quick scan into their existing routine, adding a few seconds to look at the corners and end caps rather than heading straight for whatever they came in for, consistently catch items they would otherwise have walked past entirely. That shifting clearance zone catches plenty of shoppers off guard simply because of its unpredictability. What is coming at number 8 involves something employees specifically watch happen at the register and rarely mention unless a customer brings it up directly. 8. The price match adjustment on weekly ad errors. Printed weekly ads and the prices that actually populate the register system do not always match perfectly. Pricing errors happen during the transition between one week's ad and the next, particularly in the first day or two after a new ad cycle takes effect, when not every price change has been fully synced across every register terminal in every store location. Former employees describe this discrepancy as something that happens more frequently than most customers would assume, and the policy in virtually every case is straightforward. If the price that rings up at the register does not match what the current weekly ad or the posted shelf tag states, the lower price applies, and a customer who points this out is simply charged correctly without any pushback or unusual process from the staff handling the transaction. The challenge is that almost nobody checks. Most shoppers glance at a receipt total, see a number that feels roughly reasonable, and move on without comparing individual line items against what they remember seeing advertised when they were still in the aisle. Former employees who have processed these corrections describe the amounts as usually modest on any single item. But for someone doing a full week's shopping with several sale items in the cart at once, the cumulative discrepancy can add up to a noticeably lower final total once every line item gets properly reconciled. Keep the weekly ad open on your phone while you shop, or at minimum, mentally note the advertised price of anything you are specifically buying because it is on sale that week. If the receipt does not match, say something before you leave the register area. The correction takes seconds and the staff expect it. That register discrepancy catches more money than people realize, and it costs nothing beyond the habit of checking. What is coming at number 7 involves a specific category where employees say the markdown timing is more predictable than almost anything else in the entire store, yet customers consistently miss the window. 7. The bakery section's end-of-day markdown pattern. Fresh bakery items operate on a same-day or next-day sell window that creates a predictable and recurring markdown opportunity that former employees describe as one of the most reliable patterns in the entire store, far more consistent than the somewhat variable timing that applies to fresh meat or produce in the same building. Bread, rolls, baked goods, and other items from the in-store bakery section that have not sold by a certain point in the afternoon are typically marked down significantly rather than held overnight at full price, since the next day's batch is generally arriving on schedule regardless of whether the previous day's stock sold through completely. Former employees describe this markdown as happening in the late afternoon at most locations, with the steepest discounts appearing closer to closing time, as staff work to clear remaining inventory before the next morning's delivery and baking cycle begins again. The quality of marked-down bakery items is identical to full-price stock from earlier in the same day. The only thing that changed is the time of day relative to the sell-by window, not anything about the product itself. The bread is exactly the same bread it was at 9 in the morning. The only difference is the number on the new tag attached to it. For anyone whose schedule allows a late afternoon or early evening shopping trip, This is one of the most consistent and predictable discount windows available anywhere in the store. It happens every single day the bakery is operating, which makes it a repeatable strategy rather than a lucky catch. Ask a staff member in the bakery section what time markdowns typically happen at your specific location. The answer is rarely a closely guarded secret. It is simply information that nobody bothers asking for, which is exactly why so few shoppers ever benefit from it. That predictable afternoon window is sitting there every day. What is coming at number 6 involves a digital tool that exists specifically to help Aldi shoppers save money, and that a surprising number of regular customers have never actually downloaded or opened. 6. The Aldi app's price tracking and digital coupon stack. Aldi's mobile app includes a digital coupon section that functions independently from the printed weekly ad, and former employees describe genuine surprise at how few regular shoppers have ever actually opened it, let alone used it consistently as a standard part of their shopping preparation. The digital coupons available through the app frequently apply to items that are already on sale through the printed weekly ad. This means a shopper who clips a relevant digital coupon before heading to the register can occasionally stack a percentage or dollar amount reduction directly on top of an already discounted sale price. This stacking opportunity is not loudly advertised anywhere inside the store itself, since the printed weekly ad obviously cannot account for what an individual shopper has or has not activated in a separate digital platform. The only way to know whether the opportunity exists on any given week is to open the app and check before shopping. Former employees describe the app's price tracking feature as equally underused. It allows shoppers to scan or search specific items to see current pricing without needing to physically locate the item on the shelf first, which becomes particularly useful when trying to verify whether something is genuinely on sale before committing to a special trip for it. The 5 minutes it takes to download the app and browse the current digital coupon offerings before a shopping trip routinely produces savings that more than justify the minor inconvenience of checking a phone screen while still in the parking lot. Former employees describe watching cashiers process transactions where the savings from a single stacked digital coupon exceeded what the customer had expected to save from the printed sale alone. That digital layer is sitting there completely unused by most shoppers walking through the entrance. What is coming at number 5 involves a specific question about meat and produce that former employees say almost nobody asks, despite it being one of the most directly useful pieces of information any regular Aldi customer can have. 5. Asking the meat and produce team about delivery day timing. Fresh meat and produce arrive on specific delivery days that vary by location, and the markdown cycle for items approaching their sell-by date tends to follow a predictable pattern relative to that delivery schedule. Former employees describe this as one of the most location-specific pieces of insider knowledge that exists within any given Aldi store, precisely because it cannot be generalized into a single rule that applies to every location nationwide. A store receiving its primary meat delivery on Tuesday, for example, will typically see its markdown cycle on older stock clustering in the day, or two immediately before that next delivery arrives, since staff need to clear existing inventory to make physical room for the incoming product. A store on a different delivery schedule will have its own version of this same pattern shifted to entirely different days of the week. The only reliable way to learn your specific store's rhythm is to ask directly. Former employees describe this as a completely reasonable and welcomed question. Staff are generally happy to answer it because it does not reveal anything operationally sensitive and simply helps a recognized regular customer time their visits more effectively. It is the kind of question that signals to staff that a shopper actually pays attention, which also tends to produce more helpful and complete answers. Once you know your specific store's delivery timing, shopping for fresh meat and produce becomes a matter of strategy and scheduling, rather than a matter of chance. What felt like occasional lucky timing when you happen to catch a good markdown becomes a predictable and repeatable outcome you can plan your weekly trip around. Before we continue, if learning your store's specific delivery rhythm sounds like something worth doing, subscribe to this channel right now. Every week, we break down exactly how to extract maximum value from stores, like Aldi, using the same insider knowledge that employees rely on but rarely share. Hit subscribe now, because what is coming at number 4 involves something that happens specifically with seasonal and holiday merchandise, and the markdown pattern here is steeper and faster than almost anything else available in the entire store. 4. The seasonal merchandise cliff that happens right after each holiday. Seasonal and holiday-specific merchandise, whether garden supplies arriving for spring, patio furniture, and outdoor items for summer, or decor tied directly to a specific upcoming holiday, follows one of the steepest and most predictable markdown patterns in all of retail. Aldi is no exception to this pattern, and in some ways the speed at which it happens there is even more pronounced than at larger competitors who have more storage capacity to absorb unsold seasonal inventory. Former employees describe a specific cliff that happens almost immediately once a relevant holiday or season passes its peak demand window. Items that were selling at full finds pricing just days earlier often see dramatic reductions applied within a day or two after the holiday itself, since there is simply no operational reason to continue dedicating valuable and limited shelf space to seasonal merchandise once the specific occasion it was tied to has already passed. The practical implication is clear for anyone willing to plan even slightly ahead. Rather than buying seasonal items at full price in the days leading up to a holiday, when demand is highest and selection is at its peak, waiting until the day immediately after frequently produces a substantially lower price on whatever inventory still remains. This obviously requires accepting that selection will be more limited than it was before the holiday passed, and popular items may already be completely gone. But for shoppers without a single specific item in mind and simply looking for general seasonal value, the day after window is consistently the best pricing opportunity available. Former employees specifically flag the period right after major gardening and outdoor seasons transition, along with the 48 hours immediately following any holiday tied to specific decor or themed products, as the times this cliff produces the most reliable and dramatic markdowns. That seasonal cliff happens every single time. On a calendar, anyone can predict months in advance. What is coming at number 3 involves something employees describe as one of the most overlooked sections in the entire store, hiding in plain sight in an aisle most shoppers walk through without stopping. 3. The health and beauty aisle's slower markdown cycle. Health and beauty products, including skincare, vitamins, hair care, and personal care items, operate on a noticeably slower turnover cycle compared to grocery and perishable categories, and former employees describe this slower cycle as creating a specific kind of savings opportunity that most shoppers never think to look for in this particular section of the store. Because these products do not carry the same urgency around sell-by dates that fresh food demands, markdowns in this aisle tend to happen less frequently but at considerably deeper percentage reductions once they do occur. The markdown is typically tied to a product being phased out of the rotation entirely rather than simply approaching a near-term expiration concern. Former employees describe walking past this aisle on a normal week and seeing nothing unusual, only to find a cluster of items marked down significantly during a less frequent but far more substantial clearance event that clears out whatever did not sell through during its regular rotation window. The unpredictability of timing here is exactly why former employees recommend making a simple habit of glancing through this section every few visits rather than assuming it operates on the same weekly rhythm as fresh food markdowns. The deals, when they do appear, tend to be genuinely worth the minor habit of checking, since vitamin, skincare, and personal care products carry meaningfully higher margins than most grocery items. When the markdown percentage finally gets applied, the dollar savings tend to be more dramatic than an equivalent percentage reduction on a can of soup or a bag of rice. 2 reasons remain on this list, and what is coming at number 2 involves a specific visual cue that employees notice on the floor every single day, and that most shoppers have walked past without recognizing for their entire history with the store. 2. Watching for the specific tag color that signals a price about to drop. Further, Aldi's markdown tags are not all identical, and former employees describe a specific visual cue available to any shopper willing to spend a few seconds learning to recognize it. This cue signals when a marked down item is likely to see its price reduced even further in the near future, rather than sitting at what appears to be a final clearance price. The exact tag color and format conventions can vary somewhat by region and by specific store, but former employees consistently describe a pattern where an initial markdown uses one tag style, while a subsequent and deeper reduction on the same item, applied after the first markdown failed to move sufficient inventory off the shelf, uses a visually distinct tag format. Recognizing the difference between these 2 tag types gives a shopper the ability to make an informed decision about whether to buy an item immediately at its current reduced price or wait, making a calculated bet that a further reduction is likely coming within the next few days. This obviously involves some risk. Waiting for a deeper discount means accepting the possibility that someone else purchases the item before the second markdown gets applied. Former employees describe this as a calculated gamble that works best for non-perishable items where there is no timing urgency, and considerably less wisely applied to fresh food approaching its sell-by date. where waiting for a deeper discount risks the item becoming genuinely unusable rather than simply sold out before you return. Pay close attention to the specific tag format the next time you see a clearance markdown at your store. Once you learn to recognize the difference between a first-round and second-round markdown tag at your specific location, you gain a genuine and repeatable ability to predict, rather than simply react to the pricing changes happening around you every visit. One hidden deal remains, and former employees describe it as the single piece of advice they give most consistently to every friend or family member who asks how to genuinely get the most sustained value out of every Aldi trip. 1. Building a direct relationship with staff at your specific location. Every single deal and pricing pattern described anywhere on this list becomes dramatically easier to access once a shopper has an actual relationship, even a casual and friendly one, with the staff working at their specific Aldi location. Former employees are unanimous on this final point in a way that distinguishes it from every other item on this list, because every other item depends on information, and information flows most freely to the people staff already recognize and genuinely want to help. Markdown timing, delivery schedules, damaged box discount discretion, where the shifting clearance shelf currently lives this week, what day the bakery marks down bread. All of this information exists inside the heads of the people stocking shelves and working registers, and all of it becomes more freely and completely shared with a customer who is recognized as a regular rather than a complete stranger asking pointed questions for the very first time. This does not require an elaborate or time-consuming effort. Former employees describe something as simple as shopping at roughly the same time on a consistent basis, being patient and friendly during every interaction, regardless of how busy the store is, and asking genuine questions over time, rather than treating every visit as a purely transactional exchange where the goal is to extract information and move on. The shoppers who get the most consistent and sustained value out of Aldi, according to the people who actually work there, are rarely the ones who show up once with an aggressive list of demands. They are the regulars whom staff genuinely recognize by face, who get mentioned by name in the break room, and whose staff are simply happy to go slightly out of their way for. Over time, this relationship compounds in a way that nothing else on this list can replicate. A staff member who recognizes a regular customer is more likely to mention an upcoming markdown before it is even physically posted on the shelf, more likely to apply damaged box discount discretion generously rather than conservatively, more likely to answer a direct question about delivery timing honestly and completely rather than offering the vague non-answer they might give to someone they have never seen before and expect never to see again. Thanks for watching. If you found these hidden deals genuinely useful, let us know in the comments which one you are trying on your very next Aldi visit. Click the next video showing on the left right now to keep learning exactly how to get the most value out of every single trip. And if you do not want to miss the next breakdown of insider deals and pricing strategies, hit that subscribe button right now.